Hey everybody, how's it going? Let me know real quick, just to start it off, if you can hear me and you can see me. Let me know in the comments down below. Because, as you might notice, this is a little different. We typically have Wedding Film School live, which is where we live review wedding films from you all. And we did not today. Jay's out of town, and I thought, why not still give you guys a live show? Maybe not a show, but I'm going to edit, and you guys can be live with me. So I am assuming that everything is working. So yeah, different setup is the big thing. So if you can't hear me or you can't see me or the levels are really low or something like that, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to be hanging. I have my one of my latest films that I'm working on up. I'm kind of at that stage where I'm doing. Here, let me bring it up here. I've got two different monitors, so I'm also live switching. Kind of at that stage where I'm doing like finishing touches on this. I have a handful of shots that I might swap out, just some that I want to look through again. Like I liked these shots and want to see if they maybe have a place now that the film's more put together. I'm going to keep my volume on the computer a little bit lower. I will probably be tweaking color. I kind of have stuff done, but I'm going to do like another pass through on that. And yeah, I don't know, just going through it, figuring it out. Oh yeah, that's some loud stuff. How many edits do I have left? I have I'm like pretty much caught up, I guess I would say. I think there's one that I have outsourced that was an associate wedding, which is something I'm testing out. I have this one. Man, I've had, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I've had one of the most productive weeks possible, I feel like. Yeah, I don't know, I've gotten a lot done and sent off or close to sent off. So and then I think I have two more weddings to shoot this year. So I had a really good schedule this year, is what I would say. I wish I would have taken maybe another couple weddings. I think I could have fit because I just had a really nice like spread, I guess is what I would say. What is my price? My price, I think I start at 4,500. This is US dollars. Most people aren't spending that though. Most people are probably closer to like the 6,000 ish mark. But it all depends. I don't know. Like multi-day weddings going to be significantly more than that. I did a lot of multi-day weddings this year. Yeah. How are the colors arranged by footage type? Fitzgerald Films, you mean like this, like how this is green, these are orange, whatever. These are video rolls. So this like dancing or like let's see. You can see portraits, venue or detail, location stuff, prep, things like that. How are the associate weddings? Wow, I'm sorry. I don't get to control my audio when I have this set up because I have to send it to multiple sources, and so my buttons on the computer don't work, and that means that whenever I play on here, I just get absolutely blasted with audio in my ears. Also, I'm seeing, just FYI, at least in OBS, which is my streamer, the colors look a lot more dull, so I'm assuming they're going to look a little more dull for you too. FYI, my colors probably look a little better than what you're seeing. Yeah, everything just looks like it has like a 25% like opaque gray plate over it. Weird. Associate weddings were great. It's been it's been interesting trying that out this year. But yeah, trying to like utilize a few different shooters, standardize some things while giving people creative freedom, and how to like pitch that to clients. And I think so far it's been good, and I think I'm still learning on how to grow into that, and I'll reevaluate for next year. And one of the hard things too with me, like I might eventually try to build out a little more of like a team. We'll see. But the big thing on that is like I don't know. Sorry, I gotta get my mouse back over here. I don't know like how to like I without that team, I don't want to book people a year in advance or something because I just don't know for sure that I would have people available. So then it has to be more last minute stuff. So then it's not as reliable and it's more stressful. So figuring out if it's worth my time. Yeah, no problem, Radman. I don't know what that meant. Fitzgerald Films. Anyways, a couple things. Yeah, I'm just going to live edit. Drop any questions you have. It doesn't have to be about editing. It can be about shooting. It can be running a business. It can be about whatever you want. You can drop those in chat. I'm just going to be paying attention in chat and kind of doing my thing. Hit me with a like. I'd appreciate that. The channel would appreciate that. We've done this before, but it's been a while. And so, yeah, let Final Cut know, hey, we like this film. We like what you're doing. Or Final Cut, YouTube, duh. That's what I meant. And trying to think if there's anything else. No. Hit me with any questions that you got. I need to know. All right. You guys get a preview of this too, I guess, technically, huh? Also, you know what? I'm using chapters in this, and I don't care, and you can be mad at me, and I don't care. So, it fit for this film. Have I used this song before in a wedding in my entire career? Probably. I honestly don't even know. I have no issue with reusing a song. I have no issue with using chapters. I don't care. Do what you think fits your film and what your clients want. Also, see that rainbow? That's pretty cool, huh? Huh? I think I don't actually end up liking that. Might look for a different prep shot. Sorry, wrong chat. You're in another live stream during my live stream? How dare you? How many bookings did you have this year? How are bookings for next year? Great question. I should really know this. I think I had like 12 or 14 or so. I think I probably had like 12. It's a weird year. Again, I'm testing associate stuff here and there. So I think I ended up with maybe 12 of my own and then like 5 or 6 associate ones. So a little lighter. I typically hard cap at 15 on my own. But again, I did mention probably 4 of mine were multi-day. In fact, my first 2 of the year were 2 multi-day Indian weddings back to back. So it was a very crazy span of days. So yeah, that kind of affects things a little bit as well. Yes, so that is how many I had this year. Bookings for next year. All right, here's what I'll say. We've talked about this in our podcast, which, what's called? Where I promote something that I obviously have my own interests in. We have our podcast, The Wedding Film School Show, which is on a separate YouTube channel called The Wedding Film School Show. Go join over there. We've got like 25,000 subscribers over there, and then it's also available on any audio platforms. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you might listen to your podcast. So we've talked about it there. We've talked about it on the live streams here and there as well. Next year, it's interesting. I have, I think, 5 or 6 booked. And here's what I'll say about that. Every single year, I'm nervous. And it's just the type of person I am. I don't know. Like, until I'm booked, right? I'm nervous. And I will also say, so I always use the new year as kind of a benchmark. And I say, okay, well, January 1st, where am I at? How does that compare to last year or the last 5 years or whatever, right? Because that's just easy for me. I'm not like the most organized person in the world. And so having just like an easy to remember date is great for me. I have gone into the new year. I mean, granted, I have done this a long time. I'm finishing up my 17th season shooting weddings. Pretty much all that was full-time or nearly full-time while I was in school. I used to do more weddings. Like, I think the most I ever did was low 30s, and that was the first couple years. And then I've really been protective of how many I'll shoot each year to avoid burnout. So with that said, I've gone into the new year over those 17 years, or maybe that would be 16 new years. I've gone into new year 85% booked, 90% booked. I've gone into the new year with 0 bookings. So I think in the end, there's enough weddings. I think things will shake out. I think you might see small downticks or small upticks. And then there are occasional years like 2021, was it? Like the crazy post-COVID year. Maybe that was last year. I don't know anymore. And that will also affect different businesses differently. People doing volume who are doing it for really cheap will see bigger bookings. People, like if you're already doing volume, it's like percentage increases, right? So if you're doing 100 weddings and you see a 20% increase, you're going to get extra 20 weddings. If you're doing 20 weddings and you see a 20% increase, you're going to get an extra, 3 or 4 weddings maybe. So, I mean, mine are lower than some years. I also 2 of mine right now are in the winter, so I like kind of hardly count that as next year. So if you include that, I really only have 4, and that would be lower than normal. But yeah, again, I think it'll all shake out. Where do you get your music from? Also, I recall the last time that I did this, I got almost no editing done. So I anticipate that will be the case again. Also, obviously, I'm not going to look at camera that much, just so you know. My editing's down here. Your comments are over here. Music Bed. Absolutely the best source for wedding film music. Disclaimer, we are sponsored by them. I have used Music Bed since they started and well before we were sponsored by them. You can get a free month, I believe, if you use our link, which is in the description of pretty much any video. It's not in this one. I don't think it's always in our live streams. But go to any other video on our website, and you can watch, or you can click that link and use the code. I think it's just the code WFS, and it will get you a free month off of an annual membership. But yeah, Music Bed, there's no better option. There are other options. They work, but there are, I would say, pretty much every category Music Bed is the kind of leader in most categories. What is the best way you organize your folders before editing? I actually have, it'll look different than this, but it's essentially the same concept. So yeah, we have an organization. Just look on this channel here. We have a whole video about how to organize your footage. We might even have 2 because I might have updated it slightly. Again, what you're seeing here is using video rolls. Whoa, so loud when I move my mouse. So that's what these different colors are. You can see these are dancing. Well, these are These are, this is a, what do you call it? Nested video or whatever. I didn't mean to click on that, but yeah, so dancing, this is the exit. So it's all basically, you'll see it'll look a little different, but same idea, which is that I am going through, the first thing is I'll spend probably an hour in the edit, and I'm categorizing things by the point in the day. So it's like establishment shots, or like venue shots, drone shots, bridal prep, bridal details, groom prep, wedding party, family, cocktail hour, ceremony, reception, open dancing, romantics. There's probably a couple more that I forgot. Family, I don't know if I said that. So yeah, I'm categorizing everything. I firmly believe that categorizing your footage, spending the hour to do that ahead of time, like speeds up your edit a ton. So 60 a year, brutal. My biggest year I've probably done half that, and that was when I was first starting. Because I don't do enough. You know, man, or madam, I don't know. Looks like a guy in your profile pic. I'm doing just fine for me. 60 a year, that's why a lot of people last 3 to 5 years or less. I am protective of enjoying this. I am protective of my mental health. And 12, 15, whatever. It's exactly where I want to be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I know we talked about it on the podcast at some point. I booked some years in full before the year. And honestly, that's a good benchmark too of like, if I'm going into the new year 85% booked, I should have raised my prices already, honestly. And I will probably for sure raise them then for that remaining little bit, because it's just, you're responding to the market. And similarly, like if I go into next year around the new year, I might consider like lowering I'm not really big on lowering my prices. What I am big on is maybe like, I'm kind of always changing my collection. So one of the things I did like last year or 2 years ago or something like that was take out my second shooter, and I made it an add-on. So my price stayed the same. My hard costs went down. That it's market specific somewhat. Like I kind of know the market here and where I can start and where I can't start, and things like that. So that's kind of how I've approached that. In that previous shot, do you expose for the dress or the skin? It would depend what, I don't know what shot. Could you describe it to me, Patrick? That might be helpful. I will say this. A lot of the times, I'm trying not to blow out the dress usually, but different dresses are different. Some dresses, I mean, you guys know, right? Like some dresses are just like really shiny, really reflective. It's the material. And some are a little more like, I mean, it's obviously white fabric, or not obviously, I've done some that aren't, but like it's usually white, but some are just more like fabric that isn't so shiny. It doesn't reflect as much. And so then those two are closer. But yeah, I mean, I guess the dress is ultimately what I'm exposing for. But there are times where I might break that rule. I don't know. You got to do it in the moment, you know? Oh, I love that. Yeah, so yeah, Grant, that video that was on my old education channel before Wedding Film School. That is very similar to the video that I would have on Wedding Film School right now. Probably tweaked a little bit, but yeah. So that's how I don't know. I just think that's like the easiest to understand organization, and yeah, it helps a ton. That's awesome. Yeah, love to hear that you've got 8 next year. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, and that's a great, like, super solid average. I think that's where you find that sweet spot, right? Of like, you don't have to do 40 weddings or whatever. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. That's important. The bride getting ready while looking in the mirror. green, but I think it's going to be... I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what shot. It's going to be really hard too. I don't think there's a way for you to like be like, oh, it's that one right there or something, because I think chat delays like 30 seconds or something. So I'm not going to like see it, and it's going to be a whole thing. Also, when we talk about exposure, and color, I'm just letting you know. I'm going to check again. I'm fairly certain that what you guys are seeing is like it's got to be YouTube compressing or something, but I think what you're seeing is more contrasty. Like the blacks look more crushed or whatever, the whites look a little more blown. Oh, you can see my OBS in there. The colors are a little more dull, and it doesn't look quite as warm either, I would say. But yeah. Bragger just before that one. Oh, maybe we will find it. This one? Wait. This one? This wide one? Can you run the silver? I don't know what that means. Let me know. Patrick, this one right here, this wide shot. Pay no attention to the like freaking. I tried to clean this place a lot. It looks a lot better. This one. That silhouette clip, or this is later too, but $57.08. I love it. You probably got my little timeline pulled up so tight. Okay, 50. What did you say? 57.08. Oh, this. Was that the clip you wanted to see, Gary? I think those are the two silhouettes I can think of. Okay, if this is the one, she's looking at the dress. I think she's walking towards it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like general exposure. I think I'm generally like, I'm paying attention to the skin, but I want to make sure nothing is blown out. I also, so like the dress that's hanging and or her robe pajama things. The backside probably would have been blown out because that's where the light is coming from. There's a window here that you saw in that silhouette shot, and then there's a window like here, like basically completely opposite that. Actually, I think it's a sliding door, but that door had an overhang, so the light is lower, and it's also not as like direct kind of. So I mean, you can see the rim light on her. Like at these settings, her back would have been like, if I was on the other side, it would have been blown out. But yeah, the exposure worked. Kind of like whatever I'm at here. Obviously, I don't remember at this point, but like the dress is exposed decent enough. It's maybe slightly underexposed, but she's exposed. Her robe thing, whatever, isn't blown out. Maybe a little bit right here. Her face is exposed well enough that we can see. This also, just to be like totally fair and honest and whatever, like this prep, where's that wide shot? Like this prep room was it looks very nice to the eye, but it was kind of hard to shoot in because you really only have window light here and from over here, but again, there's an overhang, so it's less so. It was a rainy day, and then like getting this shot of her walking up to it or whatever, this was pretty like impromptu. It wasn't like set up, so to speak. So had it been set up or a little more set up, I mean, I think the photographer was like, hey, did you want to go grab your dress? Because we had just like hung it up for her or whatever, but I wasn't planning on, this isn't like a shot I always get or something. Just kind of happened. Photographer asked for it. Totally cool. Um, like maybe I would have shot the other side, get a little more light. I don't know. I also like this isn't like a make it or break it shot for me. It's whatever. I mean, it made the cut. I think it works, but yeah. What do you set your ISO at for the backlit shots? There's not like one set answer. It depends how strong the light is behind it. And if you're trying to like expose like this, I mean, the sky's still blown on that, right? The trees are exposed fine. I don't really care. If this was all sky behind it, I'd blow the whole thing. I don't care. Like, I don't need to see like, I wouldn't even see clouds. It was a cloudy, like overcast, rainy day. It's even if it was like exposed correctly, that's not gonna look. There's nothing about that that's gonna look good. So I'm looking at in that scenario, how do I, underexpose her, silhouette her, but I do really like still. I like those like accents, right? You still see some light fall on her, what's it, like shoulder bone or something? I don't know. You see some light fall on the neck. You see little bits and details of the dress, even a little bit of her hair and like, under her chin. Like, so you could go fully, like I could go darker and go fully blacked out on everything. But I like a little bit of that like fall off kind of, and it's similar here too. So this was set up, but I'm probably zoomed in too far. But like, it's not just everything's blacked out, and that wouldn't work for this as much because the light source isn't as big, but there's still some, like, I want to see some light fall off and some definition on like I like the like definition, the outline. I like a little bit of light, obviously in the hair and stuff looks cool, but a little spill onto his tux, a little spill onto her dress, and just like her collarbone. And I don't think she wore a necklace actually, but stuff like that. But yeah, there's no one ISO, there's no one exposure setting that works. It doesn't. I don't know. I mean, if I say, oh, I always have it, I mean, it's probably like ISO 100, realistically, it's probably as low as it can go because I'm not touching my ISO if I don't have to. And, or, if you're somebody who's a stickler for shooting at the, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like native ISOs or whatever, then stay at your native of 800 or whatever. But I'm probably stopped down, or I crank my shutter, just do it quick. I'm probably at 100 ISO to get that dark. And yeah, but again, I don't know. It is what it is. Sometimes you got to change it. And it would depend what other exposure settings you have. Would you ever use your lights for getting ready, or just the light available to you? It would have to be a really rough situation for me to use my lights. I wouldn't say that I'm opposed to it. I also think that there are certain shots where if I could hide the light the right way, like it could be a cool shot, but I also probably can't really tell you. I'll bet I've done that like once or twice, and it was just for like a little bit with some like, and I was just shooting more tight, like close-up makeup, touch-up shots or something. And again, those scenarios, for that to happen means that for me the prep location is pretty rough. And it could be two things. It could be no available light, in which case I might say I would rather kill the lights, use my own lights, get some unique contrasty stuff, kind of emulate a window almost if I can. Or maybe there was a little bit of natural light, but I wanted a little more fill, or maybe I really wanted more natural light and there wasn't enough because the room itself was just like not that attractive or really messy, and so I really wanted to kind of blast some light, expose for that, get this really nice dark fall off behind them where I'm not going to see that mess or something like that. What light did I use for this? This is the Aperture 60D. It is an awesome light. It is, I think, the best bang for your buck. We have it linked. If you check out actually the link in the description, it says like best gear for budget, intermediate, and high-end filmmakers or something like that. Click that link. I believe it's listed in there. Also, if you're on our Facebook group, Wedding Film School, I know I posted about the Aperture 60D just like yesterday because it was on sale on Amazon. Aperture, 60. Am I messing things up? 60X? Yeah, I think it's the X. I think the D is the daylight one only. Anyway, yeah, that's what I used for that. I'm a wedding video editor for the last 9 years, but I worked in local. In the next couple months, I'll plan to work with international wedding studios. I mean, sure, you can ask me any questions you'd like. I will answer them. I will also let you know this platform is not for you promoting your services. So just, toe the line carefully there, please. You guys get to watch me drink water. As I expected, we're how long have we been live? 20 minutes or something? 30 minutes. And I've accomplished nothing. So, hit me with, I'm going to go do some stuff for like 5 minutes and then hit me with some questions and I'll come back to them. I'm finding if I want a different shot. I don't know that I loved. Oops. Maybe we try this one. I'm just gonna copy paste it because I'm lazy. This is just across the zone. All right. Oops. Ooh. Super mega fast. Sometimes all this stuff annoys me. Alright, I prefer that, I think. But guys, I'm sorry, I'm doing actual editing. I'm doing actual work. Pull this down a little. Too much. I'm gonna do this correction with the board. Looks a little like pink almost. do I want this? All right. So my dog is on my lap. I also gotta take my sharpening off of this, which means I also need to take it out of this. To me, the drone shots are already sharp enough. So I'm just taking out the sharpening that was just on my overall adjustment layer because I think it's good enough. I don't want it over the drone's shots. Alright, translate. Can't help you there, sorry. Thanks for your kindness. Yeah, no problem. To use a fractal. I do use a filter, or I use a variety of, yeah, I guess fractal filters. I think fractal filter is like a brand, isn't it? So, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, I use a few different crystal-like things that I shoot through. Yeah. Do you think I should start with freelancing sites or use email marketing? No idea. Can't help you there. Sorry. I can answer your questions about editing. I can answer your questions about filming. I can answer your questions about running a business. I can't tell you how to freelance edit for other people. What I will tell you, there's a million people doing it. If you are no different than anybody else, then why should anybody use you, kind of? I don't know. I'm not going to respond. I get emails every single day, probably just about, of people who are like, I'm an editor from anywhere. It doesn't matter where. I'm not interested in cold emails. I'm probably not interested in working with somebody who emails me out of the blue. I don't care if you're cheap. I don't care if you're fast. What I care about is, do you do good work? Can you edit in a unique way, which a lot of people can't? And maybe some people have different priorities. But yeah, it just in a general sense, man, like, getting people is going to be a hard process because there are so many people doing what you are suggesting, and they all got there first, you know? So I don't really have advice for you, unfortunately. Sorry. This was such a tough lighting situation. Uh, the layout of the room made it really, really hard for me to be able to set up a light where I wanted to. It worked well for the dance floor, but for speeches. The inside of this barn is all kind of, I don't know if it's unfinished wood or whatever, but it's all like this color wood, this warm wood. It's all beyond tungsten lights. And then it's up backed against a huge, like this whole wall outside of like the little pieces in the corner. This whole wall is window outside. It's still daylight. So you have this very, very, very orange inside and this very blue outside. And man, oh man, there was, it was hard to get what I wanted out of this. I still feel like this skin, and well, I feel like the bride's fine. She feels a little orange to me, so I might play around on that a bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's not every day that I get not stumped, but like it was too early in the day to kill all the lights. I mean, I did that for the dances, but also it was dark out for the dances, so yeah, just tough. Jonathan Miller, is that a rainbow? Yes, it is. Let me find it for you. This one. That is a rainbow right there. So yeah, really good timing. I got there, I pulled up, it started raining, like as I was driving in. What did I do? I unpacked a little bit, it stopped, I immediately ran. I was like, this might be my only chance. I'm gonna grab the drone. Shot it, was just kind of shooting around, getting some of the trees, getting some of just the surrounding area. That's the barn there that you can see. And then, yeah, as I was kind of like coming back towards the barn, I think I was way out there. I saw the rainbow there. So pretty cool. I don't think I've ever gotten one on drone. Rainbows are really hard to shoot, honestly. So yeah, cool that, I don't know, nice little fun thing that I was able to capture. Oh, cool. Jonathan, are you in, this was not close to me. This was like 2.5 hours, I feel like. Alexandria or something like that. St. Cloud? No, wait. I can't remember. Are you in that area? Are you in Minneapolis? You close by? Yeah, it was a cool venue though. I never shot there. Not really my like normal venue, I would say. But yeah, some really cool kind of like aspects to it, and I always love kind of mixing it up and just, I don't know. I don't think I'd like to be the type of person that shoots, like, I would love to shoot like 3 weddings a year at the same spot. Maybe have like, I don't know, 3-4 spots that I shoot at 3 or 4 times a year would be cool. I don't really have that now, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with it. I just like, I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like I'd like lose some like creativity. Like I like going to a bunch of new places and having new looks and new things to work with and new backgrounds and stuff like that. So, or at least having some time in between could be cool too. I like that. This prep was a tough one too. Groom prep, they paid a lot more attention to the ladies getting ready suite, which what's new, right? But yeah, groom prep was like a taxidermy place. They also said maybe on the sign. I don't know. So I kind of wanted to get rid of like any dead animals that you could see. Guys being guys, there's stuff all over, right? And no natural light, except I realized that one of the walls is a garage, so we opened that up, used that, and just, yeah, kind of trying to kill that background. There is stuff in the background. Looks a lot better now than it did, 10 minutes before I shot this, because I went and cleaned a lot of it up. But it's not, to me, you got to make do with what you have and what you're given. And I think this is acceptable. Yes, there are things in the background, but they kind of fall off, right? They kind of get lost in that background because there's so much strong light on him. this is kind of what I was saying before about using lights at prep. In the rare few times I've done it, it's been maybe a reason like this where I say, okay, I want to lose some stuff in the background. I want that light fall off so that we have, nice light on the subject, and then we don't see the background as much. And so that was kind of the idea there. Yeah, Cushing. That's what it is. Yeah, reception is tough. There's just so many variables at a reception always. You were in Maple Grove. Very cool. Oh, now you're in Florida. Oh, cool. There's a few other. In fact, actually, the wedding, I shot this wedding with a Minnesota photographer who is in Florida like 6 months out of the year as well. And he's super cool. And then there's also, I don't know if you know Curtis Kennedy. He's a Minneapolis filmmaker, although now he's in Florida full time. So you guys should connect if you haven't. Yeah, Minnesota taking over the chat. Love it. I'm in Minneapolis. So. If you were to shoot at a venue you've shot at before, and for whatever reason, establishing shots didn't work out, would you reuse from a previous wedding if it was the same season? Absolutely, I would. I will say two things to that. One, drone footage. There are some days that for some reason I just can't get it or whatever. There's also so for example, there's a lot of downtown Minneapolis. I'm in Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis venues where, you're not going to really necessarily shoot. I can think of a few where you might shoot the actual venue, but a lot of them, they're in the city. You're not going to shoot the actual venue necessarily, but what we are going to shoot is the skyline. And I will go out a few times a year, sometimes on a wedding day, sometimes I'll just go out and I'll just shoot skyline drone stuff. And then I'll use it throughout wedding films. That way I don't feel like I have to find the time to fly the drone on their wedding day. Similarly, venue signage, the outside of the building, if there's no way that you could tell, oh wait, we had a big flower arch on the front door, or so, I don't know, whatever, right? I'm just making something up. Then obviously I'm not going to use a front door shot from another wedding. But seasonally, yes, I want it to be roughly the same season. Basically, I don't want there to be any tell that it wasn't captured on the day. And as long as I can do that, then I'm totally fine reusing stuff. I will also say another tell for me would be, we have days that are blue skies, not a cloud in sight. We have days that might not be raining, but they are cloudy. It's gray skies. You have, blue skies with big puffy clouds in it. That stuff is apparent even if you're not shooting it exactly in your film. I think you can look at a lot of films as a filmmaker, at least, and you can say, well, this looks like it was probably a cloudy day. There's subtle things you pick up on, right? And so I don't want some cloudy day, kind of just white skies, in the romantic shots, but then I have this bright blue sky of the church or something, I don't know, that I reuse. So that's another tell for me. Some days do fluctuate, right? So I'm not going to, if you did shoot it on the day and the beginning of the day was bright blue skies and end of the day was cloudy romantics, I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't mix these two. But for the most part, yeah, I have no issue with that as long as there's no giveaway that it, wasn't shot then or something. Yeah, Curtis is awesome. Hmm. I'm not sure what just happened. My drive disconnect? Interesting. We're quitting. We're going back in. we're back. I'm not really sure what happened there. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was working on this. What is that? Love-hate relationship with stabilizer. Then I just go and I mess around with stuff until I figure it out. Pro tip. Looks better. So 4.500, we'll try smooth cam now. Sometimes I don't like smooth cam. Definitely needs it. Alright, we're gonna take this off. Pro tip, this was had this shot of their letters to each other and whatnot, which I mean I know anybody could pause it, right? Oh, that's what the issue is. So, I get it, but I don't want to like sit on it for a long time and like actually allow people to read the words. I also wanted to focus here. The Mrs. Teagland, right? It's her new name, and yeah, just. But you can see there's some, I don't know if it misspelled or like wrote the wrong thing or whatever. So I'm like trying to cover it. That's what these. I mean, first it was just gonna be a shot of the two. I think you see them earlier, or you see them there. It's those leather books or whatever that they wrote in. But I was like, I don't really love this, so I'm like covering it with leaves. Man, this light was changing so much too. It was like cloudy, rainy, sun peeks out, but it's still kind of cloudy. Like darker clouds. It was all over the place. And you can tell that in like, it's like the way the light hits like the forehead or something. Zoom flash. Where are we talking about, Jonathan? Like well, this actually is not. This is another shot that's screened over. Like this. This is a film burn. That. Let's see about stabilize. Oh, this is stabilized. Okay, so let's try. Ooh. on the groom. One sec. Let me get through this clip. Do you guys ever have where it just like doesn't actually render? Oh no, my drive is almost full. I might need to come back to this. All right, on the groom. This? When did I just have a shot of the groom? This? Wait, no, I just showed that. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know on the groom. I'm not sure exactly where. Oh, wait, this? I think that's before the first look. Yeah, I think this is what you're talking about. So this is, you can see here, this is the same clip here. This is probably, a lot of times like I'll roll through even if I like drop my camera, not drop it actually, but like put my camera down. Or you'll see me like reaching for the thing and I'm like the record button, and so I'm like filming and then I'm like taking it down and hitting record. And so I have that like extra. And so you'll see here, this is sped up 234%. This is probably slowed to 80. Let me check. Yeah, 80. I typically don't really use slow-mo, right? I shoot most stuff, for a highlight at least, at 60 frames per second, but I don't slow to 40% usually. There's a couple shots in here that are slowed to that, but yeah, again, I'm so sorry how bad the colors look for you guys. It is compressed and cooled off and not vibrant and bright, and it was like kind of a tough day lighting wise, but it looks so much better in Final Cut than what you guys are seeing. Yeah, so that's part of it. You can see here, if I take this off, like that's a whole me bringing the camera down. That's the whole shot there, but a lot of that's covered because we put this film burn on top, like white, and then it keeps moving and comes off. So yeah, you can just use stuff like that as a transition. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or... Yeah. All right, let's see if I can get through to the end of this without my... I need a clear space on this drive, apparently. I should have done that first. Sorry, everybody. All right, this needs to get worked on. This is a reflection. I mentioned those big windows, or that big back wall that's all windows. This is reflecting. This is like shooting in. You can see actually this is the reception, some of the wood up there, and then this is reflecting onto their ceremony. I just thought it was cool. So yeah, but it's a little too moving a little too much. But apparently I need more space. So is there a video coming about why not to shoot log? Sorry, my dog is making noises. I do think Jay was working on something like that. Don't quote me on it. Look, there's nothing wrong with shooting log. Here's what I'll say. Personal opinion. People will disagree. Yo, you gonna let me live stream here or what? She's in my lap. It's very possible. If he talked about it on the podcast I don't play a huge role in. That's more Jay in charge of that. I am on it occasionally. But yes, so here's my stance, and I think it's similar to Jay's in a lot of ways. Rarely do I need log, is what I would say. Log is great. It does give me more freedom in the edit. Do I feel limited all the time? Not necessarily, but teach your own. The biggest thing though, and I think what we kind of try to combat against is, I think, first of all, I think we can all agree, there's been a huge surge of newer people to this industry. The price to get in is cheaper. The learning curve to get good footage, to get good sound, that low learning curve is, what would it be? Smaller? It's less curvy? I don't know how do you put it, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like the barrier to entry is way lower than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. So there's way more people doing it. Also, I think there's just a shift in general, people wanting to work for themselves and stuff like that. Like there's less loyalty to companies in I think like my generation, the generation after me, things like that. So the biggest thing that we want to combat against, we see a lot of people, a lot of educators, a lot of just people in the industry, whatever, saying, oh, you have to shoot log. Somewhere, these new people are getting the idea that you're not professional if you don't shoot log. It can't be good if you don't shoot log. And I just think that's bullshit. Like, you don't need to shoot log. You can shoot log. Certain scenarios, maybe you should shoot log. But there are pros and cons to everything, and not that log is incredibly difficult to color grade or incredibly difficult to understand, but I think personally it is not something necessarily you should be worrying about right away. There are other things that are maybe more important. There are a lot of easy ways to screw up log. If you don't expose it correctly, if you don't expose anything correctly, you're screwed. But if you're not running a monitor with like a Rec 709 LUT built in, or your camera won't do a gamma correct or whatever, like you might not know. Like you're looking at this washed out image. You don't know how to read your histogram. You don't know how to read your exposure your meter, or it's set, not in a way that would be helpful or whatever. Like there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you're just kind of introducing something with log that just, it can create more at a certain stage of your career. It can create more problems than it's worth, I guess, is what I would say. And I think that's really, like, there are people creating beautiful, beautiful films shooting log, and it is an amazing, it is amazing to have that ability. And when done right, it is great. And if you want to put a little extra time, if it does take you extra time, it kind of doesn't nowadays. You can kind of slap a LUT on, and then you're kind of working with essentially what you'd have with standard. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a little ramble, but yeah, that's what I would say. I know it's something we've talked about multiple times. I feel like Jay might be working on a video on it. That would be more of a Jay video than a me video. I don't shoot log. I shoot standard. I have shot log. I just prefer not to. Again, I just don't really feel limited in most scenarios. Now that's better lighting, guys. Come on. That one looks way better. This is not much later in the night. It's probably like 15 minutes later. But I think part of this, again, I said the layout made it hard to get a light in certain places. And I think on that first speaker, the maid of honor or whoever that was, she was on the other side of the table. I think that was tough to get a light on her the way I wanted. But I also might have just moved. That's entirely possible too. Also, like this, that was their daughter just hanging up there. Super cool. I love stuff like that. That was another one. This was way later in the night, actually. Way more on that left side. I wonder if something's kind of reflecting on skin over there, even. Or you know what? Some people just have more like orange skin, right? Or some people want to get ready for the wedding. They go tanning, or I don't know, whatever. Like there's variables that are out of my control. I'll have to review some other stuff. One awesome thing about this place, I love, love, love when I have a balcony available to me. I love getting to throw a rim light up there or a key light, just depends on the setup. Um, I did get them to kill some lights for this. Also, again, it just looks so much worse for you guys. I did get them to kill some lights for this, but as you can clearly see, not all the lights. The up lights I don't care so much about. Those are whatever. I think they were pinkish, slightly pink. It would have been nice to kill all this stuff and just have my lighting, but this was a win in my book. So yeah, I love having a balcony to get a light up. I mean, it's basically like I don't need a 12, 14 foot stand anymore because I've got a 25 foot whatever light, and it just looks great. This hasn't rendered because I'm out of storage. Sorry, guys. It's just gonna lag. Alright, I still have more to do on this. But apparently first I have to clear some space. So, here's what I'll say. I'll hang for a little bit longer. Any last questions that anybody has, please let me know. I'm happy to answer anything, whether it's about this edit, whether it is about anything else. Yeah, just let me know. I'm happy to. Yeah, open book. Happy to answer whatever you want. I will, yeah, hang for a little bit longer. And then again, I need to clear some space on my hard drive, and I would rather do that not while streaming. Oh, can you guys see Kodak? Whoa, it's making an appearance. Yeah, otherwise, again, we did cancel today's live film reviews. We typically do those every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we will be back next Thursday, I imagine. Jason is out of town for a wedding, an epic wedding, if I recall correctly. I forget exactly where. But yeah, so we'll be back, and then all the other stuff. Check out the other videos we have on our channel. Again, hit me with any questions if you have any comments, whatever, as we start to kind of wrap up here. But yeah, we just dropped a video about a very controversial video, I will say, about cloud storage and the death of cloud storage, which is interesting and getting mixed reviews. So the comments might be just as fun as the video itself. And then, yeah, the live stream next Thursday and every Thursday for the most part. Also, our podcast, The Wedding Film School Show, which is on a separate channel. You won't see it on here. You'll see it on a separate channel, The Wedding Film School Show. And also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And then very last thing, guys, memberships. A great way to let us know that you like what we're doing and just show a little bit of support for this channel. Membership start at just $5 a month, and you can click the little join button next to the subscribe button down below. I think it's down below this side. Yeah. Yeah, it gets you a few things, gets you into a private Facebook group. It's just kind of a little more direct access to us. It also gets you priority in getting your films reviewed on our weekly live film review, and it also gets you more of your film reviewed. So typically we do about 2 minutes of a film review if you're not a member, and then up to 5 minutes if you are a member, just because we do want to get through a few. Final Cut Pro needs some updates. It's really starting to fall behind the competition. Honestly, I would disagree. I mean, I know it doesn't really have like the AI stuff like some things do, kind of, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel like it's that far behind. I also just like, I don't even know if I feel like it's far behind at all. Like, certain areas maybe, but like, Final Cut turns on. Sometimes Premiere doesn't. DaVinci's awesome, but I didn't learn DaVinci, so I have used it briefly. But honestly, what it is whatever you start on, whatever you feel most comfortable with, just use that. It doesn't matter. The differences are very small, in my opinion. All right, cool. We got another comment. I may be ignorant of this, but I've seen on my camera NTSC and PAL, and I'm wondering, does that affect the video quality when shooting wedding? And pardon, am new to the industry. So NTSC and PAL is man, somebody could probably answer this better than me, but NTSC is like a North America thing. PAL is a like Europe thing, or elsewhere, I think, thing. And I believe it slightly affects the frame rates. So NTSC, you're going to be shooting, we'll call it 60. I know it's not exactly 60, or if you're shooting 60 or high frame rate, whatever, it'd be 60. Whereas with PAL, I think it's 50. And then for like speeches and the ceremony, I shoot at 24 frames per second. Again, kind of abbreviating. I think we all know. Whereas I think PAL is at 25. So there are some frame rate differences. I don't remember why that is the way it is. It might also slightly impact refresh rate stuff, like lights refreshing, screens refreshing. So that could be why. I don't remember. But that's a very loose answer, and I'm sorry I can't be of more assistance, and I probably should know more. But I don't use PAL, and I never have. And I don't even know if I can set my cameras to PAL. I know a long time ago I could. I'll bet I probably still can. But anyway, I don't know. Anybody got anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to drink a few more sips of water and clear some hard drive space. Thank you to everybody for coming and for hanging out. Yeah. This is fun. If you guys like this, let us know here in the comments. Let us know in chat. Let us know in our Facebook group. You know, we could definitely implement something like this. I think we had a pretty good response, honestly. So excited that you all decided to show up and participate and ask questions. And yeah, I'm sure we could rotate through, you know, different people doing these live streams and whatnot. Join us next Thursday for our live film reviews. You can start submitting now. In fact, let me pull up that link for you. If you want to submit a film for us to review, you can go right here. There it is, 3 times in a row. And then on your way out, I would greatly appreciate if you hit us with a like. And if you really want to help us, go to another video, watch it, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Again, we've got some cool ones. We've got our latest one, which is the death of cloud storage, which has been a really interesting topic. I think a lot of us are being impacted by that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Light flicker. Well, yeah. Refresh rate on lights because of electricity standards. That makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I will see you, I'm pretty sure, next Thursday, barring any changes that we'll, of course, keep you updated with in the Facebook group, which is Wedding Film School. Go find us there. Go find us on our podcast, Wedding Film School Show. Go watch another film. Leave a like, leave a comment, do all the YouTube stuff, and I will see you in the next live stream, or maybe a video. We'll see. All right. See you guys.